All right, so for those of you that don't know me, I am Nancy from Nancy Inspired. Most of you, I think, are here because you come and join me, which makes me happy. And I have a gift that I call soul telepathy. It's that I am able to hear what your soul is trying to tell you for your highest and best good at this moment in time. When I do collective like this, it is what is the most important messaging for us as a group right now. And we'll get started right away. Because I'm just setting up, I thought I would tell you a little story. Hello Elsa. Hello Alicia. Short time this year. Okay, busy morning. Okay, we're gonna jump right in. Hello Kath. Hello Carol. Marika. Hello everybody. Okay, so I wanted to show you this. This is the scarf that I put all of my. When I set up to do a reading, this is my ritual. Do I need it? No, probably not. But this is my little ritual that I set up in order to get myself ready to connect and do. So the story of this is that I was working with a mentor who was helping me out because I had had a weird kind of experience that with my gift that I wasn't really aware, or not really understanding, and I didn't really want it to become overwhelming. So I was working with somebody, and I had done a meditation retreat one weekend. It was a silent meditation retreat. And during that, around that time, it was just after, a couple days after the retreat, I had a dream. And in my dream, Madame Blavatsky was walking with me. And I didn't really know who Madame Blavatsky was. I had heard her name from my mentor that I was working with, and she said, you should look up Madame Blavatsky, but I didn't really know anything about her. But in my dream, she was walking with me on my left side. She was a shorter woman, and she was walking with me, and she was basically giving me crap, saying, it's about time you showed up. You've got work to do. That kind of thing. Good thing you have a good teacher. And then she put a shawl over my shoulders. And when I woke up, I told my mentor the dream, and she said, well, don't be surprised if that shawl shows up in real life, usually within 3 days. So I was like, okay, didn't really think anything of it. I went to a clothing swap, and that's, where people bring stuff that they don't use anymore, and other people take it home. And anyway, yeah, this was sitting on the table, and it is exactly like the shawl that she put on my shoulders. It's exactly the shawl that she put on my shoulders, except the one on my shoulders in my dream was triangular, and this one is rectangular. But otherwise, it's the same color, same texture, everything. So I use it as my base, okay? And then this is what I call my magic wand. So I call it my magic wand. It's actually a piece of driftwood that I found, but I don't know. I just love it, so I put it out. Does it have any magical properties? Who knows? Then I have a couple stones that I love. This is some citrine that I put out. This is some selenite that was given to me. This was gifted to me by someone I did a reading for. And this is a big chunk of labradorite, also gifted to me by someone I did a reading for. And then I have some opal, also gifted to me. And these are some random quartzes that I put out. And a little bit more citrine pendant. Then these are I have a little bag that I keep all my stones in. I do bathe my stones in the full moon every month. And yes, Jamie, it is, isn't it? A lady I did a reading for, she wanted to trade. And so she gave me this. I actually don't know what this is, but it was given to me, and it's a kind of a quartz, but it really resonates with me. It feels like it kind of hums to me. So I set it out. Another piece of selenite and some quartz. So I put these in the middle in front of me. I'll show you once I'm done. This is another piece of, I'm not actually sure what that is, fluorite, I think. All intuition enhancers. Again, do I need any of this stuff? No, I can do a reading without any of it. But I find that ritual, that sort of set up, puts me in the headspace. So I'm sharing it with you. This is a garnet and it's used for protection. I put it on the side. This, I believe, is some tourmaline, and again, I put it at the side. I don't know what this is. Someone else might know. But again, it was given to me as a protective stone. I put it on the boundaries. I have it on the outside of my scarf. Some onyx, again, a protective stone. And that is my little setup. I will move my camera so you can actually see my little setup. So yeah, this is what it looks like in front of me. And that is how I set myself up for a reading. So I didn't get a chance to do that before coming on, so I thought I'd share it with you. All right, and then the next thing I usually do is I do a little cleansing and clearing of myself. I get myself out of the way so that I can hear messages clearly for the group. So I use a pendulum for that. Pendulum work, lots of people use pendulums in different ways. For me, it moves energy. It's the energy I feel in and around my body and my energetic field, and it just allows the energy to move a little more freer. It just helps with that visualization so I can move the energy. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes, and first I have to ask permission. Can I, may, and shall I do this work? Can I douse? Can I connect to source information at this time? Are my intentions clear and from the light? And yes, that is a clear yes. The pendulum is moving in a clockwise direction. I can already feel the answer. I don't really need a pendulum. I just hold it for habit. And then I ask, is there any reason why I shouldn't at this moment in time? And it was already switching directions before I was finished talking. This is where I cleanse, clear, and balance. So I'll invite you just to close your eyes and you can cleanse and clear with me. So we're just going to cleanse, clear, and balance my heart, my mind, my body, and my spirit on all levels for my highest and best good. I just ask that all of my emotional and even intellectual things that might get in the way of doing a reading be removed, taken to the feet of God. And I imagine a blue-white light swirling around me counterclockwise, and it just pulls out at the root anything that doesn't serve me at this moment in time. So I can cleanse, clear, and balance my heart, my mind, my body, and my spirit on all levels for my highest and best good. I did some meditation already this morning, so usually when I've done some meditation, the clearing doesn't take as long. All right, so then next I ask for my intuition to be raised to the highest level that I can accommodate with at this moment in time. So the pendulum starts spinning clockwise now, and I imagine it as sort of a warm gold light spinning clockwise around me, and I ask that my intuition be raised to the highest level that I can accommodate with at this moment in time. Allow me to hear clearly for everyone's highest and best good. That's what I do for myself. So then that's what I usually do before I come onto my live. and then when I do come onto my live, I connect to all of you. So then I ask, can I, may I, and shall I do a reading for my Insight Timer friends and family, both those that are listening now and those that listen later? I'm getting a clear yes. Is there any reason why I shouldn't at this moment in time? Nope. It switches direction. Nope, there's no reason. So then here is where I create a container for the space. So I clear out everything that does not serve this space at this moment in time, sending away anything that doesn't serve at this moment in time to the feet of God, where it can be transmuted into love, and we create an energetic container that both those that are here now and those that listen later can safely be a part of. And then I ask, it's going to switch directions, I ask that we fill this space with love and light and blessing, and I ask that all of your intuition be raised to the highest level that you can accommodate with at this moment in time. Allow your souls to speak freely and clearly for everyone's highest and best good. All right, then we're ready to begin. So that's my little ritual. Is it important to do that ritual? Like I said, I can probably do it without, but it does help to share the space. It helps to set the tone. It helps to put my mind into an open place where I can hear messages. I believe it helps elevate the integrity of the space. It helps elevate the vibration of the space, of the sharing, because I honor you as participants. And I have, as the teacher or leader of this, it's my responsibility to make sure that everyone is, energetically protected and connected. So that is my little ritual. All right. So without further ado, let's hear. Anyone have any questions about that? All right. Feel free to ask and I can check in afterwards. So let me check in. What is the collective messaging for us at this moment in time? Okay. So what I started to feel was my solar plexus, but then it kind of went up into like kind of almost like heart chakra, like solar plexus and heart chakra. And what it felt like was kind of like being poked a little bit. And when I was asking, okay, what's that? So when I get my messaging, I feel it, or sometimes I get images. Is how I get my messaging, and sometimes I hear words. So I started to feel poked. What I was feeling is that it's really easy for us to get caught up in the busyness and business of life. It's very easy for us to get caught up in the day-to-day, the to-do tasks, the stuff that has to get done, the people that need us for different things, the all the day-to-day types of things. Now, those are important, and what I'm hearing is that they're why it's connected to the heart chakra is because it is the thing that gives us a sense of value sometimes. As we are busy and as we're doing things or looking after things, it gives us that sense of value. It gives us that sense of purpose. What I'm hearing is to be aware of when our sense of purpose from these actions is taking over our actual purpose. And what I mean by that is that it's really easy for us to get caught up saying yes. I worked a casino for my granddaughter's soccer this weekend, and then I helped out a friend, and so I'm saying yes, saying yes, right? And even though it's totally filling my bucket because I feel like I'm contributing and I'm helping out and stuff, what it did do is it took away some of my sleep, and it took away some of my opportunity to meditate the way that I do usually on a Saturday morning. And so what I'm hearing is be aware of the busyness that gives you purpose and validation actually inadvertently taking away from some of that purpose and validation, and to try to work at keeping it in a balance. Because absolutely, I feel like I've contributed, like I've done some good things, but I'm definitely a little more depleted because I didn't look after myself as well, right? And that there is a balance. What I'm hearing is that we are taught from a young age that what we do is what makes us valuable. That what we do, our productivity, is what makes us valuable. And we're taught that from a young age. And yes, there's some truth to that. However, that is not the only thing that makes us valuable. Everybody has various situations. If you're dealing with a chronic health issue, for example, you're not necessarily going to be as productive, and I'm using that in quotes because that is a relative term and something that I think can be somewhat damaging sometimes. There's limitations. I actually just interviewed, I hope Yovita doesn't mind me sharing this, but I did a little interview with Yovita because she is super knowledgeable. And one of the things she said that really stuck with me that is coming up right now is that sometimes your best is at 20%. Sometimes your best is at 100%. And as long as you're doing your best, whether that's 20% or 100%, that's what we need to be doing. But we don't need to be doing 100%, 100%, because that's not actually sustainable, nor is it healthy. And so this is about managing what fills your bucket that okay, so what I just heard is it's like candy or for me chocolate. A little bit of chocolate is just fine. A little bit of candy is just fine. But if you're overindulgent in the candy and chocolate, it will steal away important nutrients. It can affect your blood chemistry. It can affect your mood. It can affect. So even though it fills the bucket for a little while, right? It it can be detrimental in the long run. So even though helping others and doing all these things, saying yes to other people is helpful in the short term, we need to be careful that it's not depleting us, that our only sense of value is coming from what we do. Our sense of value is not just what we do. It's who we are. It's how we think. It's how we feel. It's all the things. So this is what I just heard. Even what we're thinking releases energy. So I believe, and what I've been told through my gift and whatnot, that our purpose on this planet is to elevate human consciousness, ourselves and those around us. What I'm hearing is that even what we think can elevate. So we may be having a moment where we're by ourselves in our own spaces, not near anybody else, but consciously thinking positive thoughts or consciously clearing our minds, maybe doing the dishes in a meditative state. We are then elevating the vibration even in that moment. So we're not actually necessarily doing anything, but just by the simple act of being in that space, we're elevating both our vibration and those around us. So we need to be careful that we don't get too caught up in productivity, in the value of what we're doing. It's who we are. It's what we bring to the space. And to recognize, like Yovita shared, I'm looking forward to being able to share that little interview. I just haven't had a chance to edit it down, but Yovita is a wealth of knowledge. And just a reminder that, whatever percentage you are at that day is where you're at. And if 20% is where you're at and you're working at your best at 20%, then you're doing your best. If your best is 100% that day, then go for it. It's 100%. But we need to be able to be honest with ourselves. Where are we at today? How much do I have today? And to not underestimate the power of rest. That rest is very important. Ooh, this is a tough one. I don't like this message. Yeah, but I'm hearing to say it. Okay. Sometimes illness and injury is to teach about rest. Now, I don't like saying that because then I feel like it's hard sometimes to like, especially if someone's dealing with a chronic illness or chronic pain or whatnot, to be like, this is a lesson. But what I'm hearing is that there is a lesson about rest in illness and in suffering, that we need to be aware of our bodies and when our bodies need rest. And the times that we are injured or ill are the times that we need rest the most, and that there is nothing wrong with resting. Resting is work when you are needing to recover. I'm also hearing to include in here that there's a few of us here that are working on recovering from various traumas or things like that, and to recognize that that is work too. Just because we can't see it, because it's in our minds, as opposed to healing a broken leg, there is rest involved in healing and recovery and recharge. And that rest is essential. It's funny that I'm getting all these messages about rest when I worked a casino fundraiser on Friday night and didn't get to bed till 4 in the morning, which I'm usually in bed early. So it's funny that we're talking about rest, because yes, am I a little depleted? Probably. But I'm hearing that rest is not to be undervalued and underestimated. That rest is essential. It is essential for our growth. It's essential. I'm hearing the word harmony. It's essential for connection. That when, so what I just got as an image in my mind was like a spider web. And when a spider web is all connected, right, it has the opportunity to be that, perfect, beautiful spider web. If one of the connectors, the places that it's connected to, gets blown around in the wind and is loose, then the whole thing starts to flop around until it is repaired. Rest is the opportunity to have those connectors built. And so if we want a strong foundation, whether it's connecting to our higher selves, to each other, to collective wisdom, to collective consciousness, we need to be able to rest. And that productivity, and especially I'm hearing our society is so based on productivity. What you are doing is how we're valued. It's how we make money. It's how we, it's the doing. What I'm hearing is that rest is equal to or more important than any type of productivity in the long run. I am hearing that communication happens when we rest. And what that means. Okay, so a couple things I'm hearing. So when we are sleeping, whether you remember your dreams or not, your subconscious mind is constantly working. It's also a chance for communication from your higher self, from divine consciousness, from collective wisdom, can come through while you rest. On a scientific level, ideas germinate when you rest. If you have a problem that you're working on, to continue working is actually not the way to solve the problem. The way to solve the problem is to walk away from it, to take a rest, to take a break, and that you need to remove yourself for a little while, do something totally different, and your subconscious mind will continue to germinate that idea until the actual information or solution to the problem forms. So rest is not just being lazy. It is, you're working. Rest is working. Your body repairs itself through rest. Your skin cells repair itself. I don't actually know a whole lot about the biology of it, but your body needs rest to rejuvenate, and it seems to be the number one message. I hope I'm not hijacking this, because yes, I'm tired after working that casino, threw me completely off. But yeah, I'm hearing that rest is important. Now what I just heard is true rest is important. So what I'm hearing is that sometimes the things that we call rest are not actually rest. So for example, sitting and scrolling on social media is not actually rest, because your brain is being stimulated by all the things you're seeing, by all the things you're ingesting. Sometimes the information is not necessarily positive, and so that is not a true form of rest. However, creative endeavors, I'm hearing, are a form of rest. If you throw yourself into knitting a scarf, for example, or cooking, I just heard, or gardening, and doing creative endeavors, painting, drawing, coloring. They have adult coloring books that that shuts down your brain enough to be in flow, that is considered rest. So rest doesn't necessarily just to be sleeping. It doesn't have to just be sleeping. It can be various forms of rest, but what I'm hearing is be aware and intentional with your rest. So if you are depleted and you know you need to rest, doing something that puts you into flow, and my understanding from what I'm hearing with flow is more, the word I just heard is receptive to creativity. That's what flow is. So receptive to creativity. If you are doing something that, let's say, has some repetitive motion to it, or something that just occupies your mind enough to be in a receptive state, that could be considered rest. So, scrolling on social media does not allow your mind to be in that receptive state, but not that there's anything wrong with doing that sometimes, because that's where we get some information from. But it's about being in that receptive state. So either sleeping is rest, meditating is rest, or anything that allows you to be in that creative, receptive state is rest. And I'm hearing that right now and this coming week, that's the knowledge of like something that we need to keep in the forefront of our mind is how we are resting. What are we doing for our resting time? Okay. Awesome. I'm just going to take a look at the chat because it's been moving here. I see all the lovely hellos to everybody. That makes me so happy. We've got such a beautiful little community here. It always makes me so happy to see everyone. So, had an old injury suddenly act up. Yes, message, rest. Molly, me too. Me too. Rest, rest, rest. Alicia, much love, Nancy. I received all I need to hear today as I know my soul is to be service of others. I do find myself energetically drained and never ready myself. Often just give and give. Must be off now, but I'm glad you made it to hear this. Me too, Alicia. Messaging is exactly what I needed to hear as I set up my energy healing business. Awesome. If you want, Alicia, you can drop. I know we can't, the chat is not designed like you can't put emails or anything like that. But if you want to give us some words to look up your healing business, if you do it online, I don't mind promoting you. So you can put kind of what you do or how people can find you in the chat. I don't mind that at all. And maybe, Alicia, I could do the same thing for you one day. I interviewed Jovita, and I'd like to interview other people. If you're interested in that, you can give me a little message. Yes, lots of rest. Nicole Batiste has a talk on the science of sleeping. It's so cool what our brains do during sleep. It's like a reset. Oh, I'm going to have to look that up. Nicole Batiste. I'm going to write that down. Because absolutely, there's some rest. Rest is on point. CG. Also been getting similar messages. Very confirming and resonant. Absolutely. Hello, Nancy and everyone. Funny you're mentioning rest. When I joined just now, I found out I'm anemic at the moment, so quite tired. But rest is not easy for me. Me neither. I understand that. Though I'm working on accepting it more. I think, sorry, it just jumped, so I didn't see who said that. What I just heard as I read that, Sue, what I just heard as I was reading that is that's where creative flow comes in as well. Because sometimes the actual rest, like sleeping per se, is not as available as we'd like it to be. But being in creative flow sometimes can be. I know for myself, I look after my granddaughter a lot. I can't necessarily just go to sleep, but I can do things like I make I don't know, you can see them behind me. I make these wreaths, and so I sew while I'm making them, and it puts me very much in a energetic headspace of being open to receiving messages as well as recharging. So that's what I'm hearing, Sue, is that if sleep per se is not available to you, meditation and also anything that puts you in a creative flow. Hearing to tell you a story, don't know why this is relevant right now, but I'm just going to tell you because I always tell you when I'm here to tell you a story. I did not pottery, but like clay, working with clay workshop, sculpting. That's the word I'm looking for. A sculpting workshop. And it was like a 2-hour class or 2.5-hour class. And I remember sitting down to get started. The first little project as we were making our hands, and I got started. I ended up making two hands, and it was like I felt like I sat down, and then all of a sudden the class was over. Like it was just such a time warp of space, and I'm not sure why that's important. So I'm just going to ask, why was I asked to tell that story? Okay, that's how you know you're in flow. Sorry, that I didn't know. I really didn't understand. Why am I telling the story about when I was sculpting my hands and time just seemed to move? That's how you know you're in flow, is that time just seems to become immaterial. Time passes in a way that you don't recognize or that you don't know. You're just in that space, and there isn't the knowledge of what's going on around you in terms of the passage of time. That's what I just heard. So when you're in those moments of true flow, which is also a form of rest, that is very, very healthy for us, and a way to elevate our vibration if actual sleep is not available. But I'm hearing that this next week that we are being asked to prioritize sleep, that we are being asked to prioritize rest and sleep. Not sure why. Maybe there's something happening in the cosmos. I always love it if people know a little more about what's happening. But maybe there's things happening right now. I know where I am, we had some crazy aurora, and there's some kind of magnetic something going on that can affect our biorhythms and things like that. Maybe that's why we need to sleep. But I am hearing that rest and sleep this next week is really important. Okay. Spent 20 minutes on one message, but I think that's it's obviously important. I'm hearing it for sure. I'm hearing it for myself. New moon this week. Yes, new moon. I've been trying to keep more track of the moon. All right, let me just hear. What else? What else important messaging do we have? Okay. This was a very interesting image that popped into my head, and it took a second for me to go, what does that mean? So what I saw was my hand, and then I saw it was like my hand disappeared, so that it was like a movie when like the hand, I don't know, with like as someone's going invisible, my hand was disappearing. I was like, what does that mean? What I am hearing is that we need to be careful about scarcity mindset. That if we are focusing on our limitations, then we become limited. Now, we all have limitations. We all have things that make certain things harder or easier for us. We all have limitations. But if we're focusing on those limitations, we become limited. So what I am hearing is kind of that idea of where there's a will, there's a way. What I'm hearing is that there's a number of us here that are maybe procrastinating on something that we'd like to do. Maybe it's a goal we have or something that we're interested in that we're kind of like, no, I can't do that. Or no, it's, that's too hard, or I don't have enough money to do that, or I don't have enough time to do that. I know I'm the queen of that in terms of I like to say I don't have enough time, but I know if I really, really wanted to do it, I could find the time. That's what I'm hearing, is that if we are focusing on what we are lacking, then we don't get what we want. And so using myself as an example, I would like to feel a little stronger. Since having a hysterectomy, I definitely don't feel as strong as I used to. It's been bothering me a little bit. And what the obvious answer is to do some strengthening, do some things that, I don't have time, or, I don't have enough money to go to the gym. I don't have time. What I'm hearing is if I am focusing on the lack, on the fact that I don't have time, or I don't want to buy a gym membership, or don't have the money to buy a gym membership or something like that, then I am ignoring all the possibilities. I have space in this room that I'm in right now. I can do it. I could do 5 minutes, instead of scrolling. I could do 5 minutes. So recognizing where we're focusing on our limitation and our scarcity versus what we want to do. And I'm hearing that like I'm feeling this really strong kind of push, especially solar plexus, going, do it, and being like a cheerleader. The thing that you've been procrastinating on, the thing that you've been kind of like, I'll do that later, or, I'll do that when I have more time, or, I'll do that when I've had more rest, or, I'll do that when I've, whatever. Here I am telling you, it's time to do it. It's time to just focus on what you do have versus the limitation. So sure, can I go to the gym for an hour? No, I don't have that time. But I could do something here. So focusing on what you can do versus the limitation. So the image that I had in my mind was like my hand, and then it sort of disappearing, but it was still my hand. I don't know why that's relevant, but it was that idea of don't focus on the lack and the scarcity, focus on the intention and the goal. I know, right? I just saw Marie's message kind of classes with the previous message of rest. So yes, rest is important, but also I think it's about self-sabotage, right? That if we're focusing on scarcity and focusing on, those things that we want to do, we say, oh, we can't. Now I use the example of exercise. Maybe it's not exercise. Maybe it's doing your taxes or something. It's like, oh, I don't have a calculator. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm being facetious now, but it's about what is the thing that you're kind of focusing on limitations about, as opposed to moving forward. So, okay, and then I just heard, and then it's in balance. So you're doing what you're feeling called to do, and not sabotaging yourself, and then you rest. And what I just heard is that when you are doing things in an authentic way, is what I'm hearing, or like fulfilling. Okay, I just understand. Full circle. Okay, I get it. I love it when I get messages like this where it all comes full circle. At the beginning, we talked about how the reason why sometimes we're too busy to do the things and to rest is because we're filling our bucket. We're trying to feel more fulfilled by filling our bucket, by being busy, by doing stuff, by feeling productive, by serving others, by da-da-da-da-da. And that depletes our bucket because we're not giving ourselves a chance to rest, but we're doing it because it's filling our bucket. What I just heard, and the reason why these two messages go together, totally brilliant, I love it when this happens, is that when we are doing the things we actually want to do, that maybe we've been sabotaging because of scarcity, because of focusing on limitations, our buckets are getting filled, so we don't feel the need to be in the rat race filling our bucket, because we're actually being fulfilled by the things we truly want to do, by the goals we're setting, by the feelings of success that we're having, fills the bucket, so we're not filling it on the hamster wheel, which is taking away from the rest. So what I'm hearing is, as you fill your bucket by not focusing on limitation and scarcity, but focusing on what we actually want to do or how we can do it, fills our bucket authentically, which allows us to rest more peacefully and more easily. So it's actually totally full circle. So Marie, I love your comment because that all just kind of made it go click, click, click and make it make sense. There's a purpose. So to be able to do something and cross it off your to-do list can bring and create rest as well. Yes, it helps to do smaller portions of a task that are doable. Absolutely. It totally makes sense. Creative flow and peaceful rest. I love it. That was like a aha moment for me too. I'm like, oh, right. Because why do I constantly want to be doing something and in service of others? Because then it makes me feel valuable. It makes me feel important. It makes me feel connected to myself in some way. Whereas, if I was to do the things that my body's actually calling me to do, I'd probably still be helpful, but maybe I wouldn't feel the need to fill that as much. So yeah, very cool. I enjoyed that. That was an aha for me as well. Yes. Yoga on Insight Timer, 100%. I try to do yoga on Insight Timer, but there's also lots of other online yogas if you can't do a live. And there's, I guess, where there's a will, there's a way, right? I think that's that point. There's so much that are available to us. Okay, and CG said, so interesting. On 11/14/25, I channeled a message and it started, the reason for your stagnation is because you need to recharge. There you go. There are energy takers you need to prepare for and protect yourself against. You need to hone your energy so there are no energy leaks, and that means rest to recharge. There you go. Same message. I think cosmically there are some energetic things anticipated, and we are leading up to more a momentum universal year. So maybe rest is a type of preparation. That makes complete sense. Absolutely, CG. I appreciate that insight because I'm hearing it like rest. And then fulfilling yourself in ways that are authentic and genuine. Hello, Amanda. Welcome everybody. I know there's people that have joined on as I've been chatting, feel free to say hello. And I know I missed some things in the chat. I'm just going back. I love the definition of rest being in a state of creative receptivity. Yeah, I love that. And yeah, it's true. Like my little story of making those hands. It was like I started and he was amazed that I had made 2 in the time, but it was like I just dived in and it happened. And so that's a time when we are in creative flow. I'm just going to ask, are there any other messages for the collective at this moment in time? All right, so I'm going to jump in to individual messages. So the way this works, for those of you that are new here, you can put your name in for an individual message, and